439-202.
All
I'd
right.
like-
Go ahead, son.
Ma'am?
Did you have something else you were going to say?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to say two things right off the bat. First, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to come before each of you. And secondly, that I'm totally sorry for the pain, the agony that I've caused my victim.
All right, well, you
family.
get a chance to say that at the end. Let me tell you how this is going to work. I'm going to read some identifying information into the record. I'm going to ask you to confirm it. We'll have a parole interview with you. Mr. Freeman will take the lead on that, seated to my right. You'll answer his questions. We'll hear from the warden, and we'll hear from those who've indicated they'd like to speak today. Claude Hopkins with the first 72, and then you'll be allowed to make your statement. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you are Brett C. Molloy with DOC numbers 439-202. You're classified as a first offender. You were sentenced in Beauregard Parish, June of 2001, forcible rape. You received a 35-year sentence. Your parole eligibility was August 1st, 2021. You do not earn good time, and you have a full-term date as due September 11, 2035. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman's questions, please?
Okay, good morning, Mr. Malloy.
Morning.
How old are you at the present time?
46,
How long have you served on this sentence?
22 years.
2 years. Okay, your original charge was aggravated rape, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they pled it down to forcible rape.
Correct.
Okay, first off, you know, there's just tons of statements, different statements you made at different times, some statements made on the same day. So can you just give us a brief detail of what actually happened?
Yes, sir. I had a lot going on during the time, and basically, I had sexually abused my stepdaughter. I was under a lot of stress and just bad decisions.
How old was your stepdaughter?
7 at the time, sir.
And all of the statements, I mean, it like I said, it was tons. One bite, one check, lick her stomach. So this is what actually happened. You did actually forcibly rape your stepdaughter.
There was no penetration, but I did sexually abuse her, yes, sir.
Okay. And if the hospital report says there was penetration, you say there still wasn't any?
No, sir. The report said that there was redness, but that everything was intact.
All right. Mr. Malloy, you've had prior offenses also, right? When you was in California?
As a juvenile, yes, sir.
Okay, so I mean, if you were in foster care, you were molesting some boys, and then they put you in a home, and it still continued, and you got a diagnosis at that time, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Did they ever put you on any medicine or anything for that diagnosis of a psychopathical liar and a sexual predator? Did they put you on any kind of medicine?
No, sir, they didn't.
Have you taken the 4 classes for sex offender?
Yes, I have, sir. And even taught them.
And what did you learn?
One of the things that I learned was that because of my own abuse as a child, which is what initially caused everything, the fact that I wasn't able to deal with it caused me to act out in that same manner. What I've learned since then is that my emotional state was off kilter, which is why I had such a hard time making good decisions. I've since learned that paying attention to my emotions makes me a better man because I'm able to make better decisions because I have a clear mind versus one that's unstable due to anger, stress, or other negative influences.
So, actually you saying it, that, this happened when you was a young man. It happened as a juvenile. You released at 18 years old, and then when it happened again, how old were you? When you got arrested?
I was 23.
23. Okay, do you consider yourself a sex offender?
No, sir, I don't.
You have strong opposition from the DA, and the judge didn't have any comment. Could not locate the family of the victim, or what about your family?
I don't have any. As I said, and as earlier, I was raised in orphanages, foster homes, and group homes the majority of my life. So
What is going to be your transition plan?
So I'll be going to New Orleans. There's a halfway house who has taken me. I also have a reentry group in New Orleans who's going to provide all the support that I need. I have a job set up. My plan is to actually open up my own reentry group, and from that be able to help others just as others have been helping me. I've taught reentry for the last several years. I taught for Mr. James Wyndham with Capital Area Reentry Coalition. And one of the things that I've realized is that at some point we have to start considering others. And I know that growing up, I wasn't considering others. I was only worried about myself. Prison has allowed me the opportunity to look at myself, look at my thought process, my decision making, and to be able to do better. And prison has become a place of transformation for me. And I've been truly grateful because I'm not the same person I was 22 years ago. I've done everything that I can to not only show my own rehabilitation, but to help others rehabilitate themselves and to be better than what they were before. All the programs that I've been in, especially since I've been here, from Toastmasters to the vets to reentry, everything that I've done here has not just been for my benefit, but for the benefit of others. And it's my plan to go out there and not only be productive, but to be a viable asset to those coming out.
Do you have any physical problem? Any health problem?
Yes, sir. In February, they had to remove my bladder because of condition. And now my kidneys have been affected. And I'm currently living in the infirmary as a result and constantly having to go to the hospital. That's why I missed my hearing in April, because I was in the hospital.
And you've had 7 write-ups while you were in prison. The last one was in 5/16/2012.
Correct.
Okay, that's not a bad disciplinary record. Low risk, medium need. That's all the questions I have, Mr. Knox.
Mr. Green, I have a couple of questions. Mrs. Jackson has some questions. Good morning, Ms. Malloy.
Morning.
You are seated in a wheelchair. Are you able to walk without the assistance of a wheelchair?
Right now, only in short distances, simply because I'm still having issues with my kidneys, but I'm hoping that that's only a temporary situation as my treatment team is working on better solutions to my problem.
And you indicated that you have no family, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your transition plan is to live in a halfway house, is that correct?
That's correct until,
And your transition plan is to live in a halfway house, is that correct?
that's correct until I'm able to get a place of my own.
And that's the part I want to talk about. Given your health situation, given the fact that you don't have any family that you can live with, how do you think you'll be able to earn money so that you can get a place of your own?
My plan is with the job that I have set up, also,
What is the plan
Ma'am?
for that job?
Currently, I'm gonna be working at a car wash in New Orleans, doing administrative stuff, working on computers, ordering, things of that nature.
And
While I'm-
who offered, listen to me, who offered you that job?
His name is Edward Doley.
And how do
He's
you
a-
know?
He's the brother of a friend of mine here. So his phone number is 504.
I don't need that. We're not gonna call him. I'm not gonna call. But have you personally spoken to him
Yes, ma'am, I have.
and he has assured you that he would give you a job?
Yes, ma'am. Additionally, both the halfway house and the reentry group has also said that they would help me if things don't work out with this gentleman. So employment will not be a problem. Also, as a veteran, I'll be accessing the VA for any benefits. So
When were you in the military?
from 1996 to 1999,
And what branch were you in?
United States Army, active duty.
Well, I hope your kidneys don't develop an issue, Mr. Malloy. But if they do and you're not able to work and you don't have family to take care of you, that's kind of a concern. How are you gonna survive?
I will do whatever it takes along the legal aspect to make sure that not only do I have the place to live, but I am functioning and following all the guidelines. That will not be a problem, ma'am.
Yeah, it will be. If you can't work because of your kidneys, that's gonna be a problem.
It's not that my kidneys aren't functioning, they're just not functioning completely because of infections right now.
Right. Well, that's all I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't there any input?
Yes, ma'am. Inside the vacuum of the prison system, he does good. He does, like as far as the write-up history, you can see that it's been, he's done a good job there, and he keeps his head down. So once again, I repeat, inside the vacuum here, he does a good job.
We'll hear from the first 72 now, Mr. Hopkins.
And good morning, board. My name is Claude Hopkins, 472 reentry coach / parole advocate. I'm here to let the board know that the 472 is in support of Mr. Malloy. We are ready to support him as far as on our peer mentorship program. I mean, we even can provide transportation if he granted parole to come pick him up and bring him to our facility. we have our wraparound service that will also assist Mr. Malloy as far as getting his Social Security, all his medical, his hospitalization, his Medicaid or Medicare card. You know, we will assist him with getting all that type of benefits. If granted parole to the first 72, we also assist him with getting his Social Security card, birth certificate, stuff that he may not have that he would need to acquire the things that he's trying to accomplish. And I'm most likely going to personally be his reentry coach. So as far as him getting around, if he have to be in the wheelchair, I got his back on that. You know, so whatever he need to do or whatever we need to do, because First 72 and all our clients, we as one. You know, so it's a 24/7 thing with the 472 plus. And so I ask that you guys will really grant him parole to the 472 plus. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Malloy, is there a statement you'd like to make now?
Yes, ma'am. Over the last 22 years, I've had a lot of time to think about not only my past, not only the pain and the suffering that I've caused, but also how it's affected me, how it's affected my victims and the family. And I realized that it's devastating. And being a victim myself, I do understand. And I wish every day that I could take that back. All I know is that I'm not the same person I was not even 10 years ago. You know, this place has allowed me so much growth. Like a caterpillar in a cocoon process, it has allowed me to be transformed. It has allowed me to see beyond myself. And I look forward to doing so much out there to be an asset, to be a viable resource for those coming out, to provide community services when I get my own reentry group up and running. It's not just about me anymore. It's about all those around me. And since I've been here at DCI and all the things that I've done, it hasn't been about me. It's been about having a positive impact in the environment that I'm in. And I just want to say, once again, I wish I could take it all back. And I'm so sorry for the pain, the suffering. I just ask that I would take all this into consideration. With everything that I want to do, I have the support. And there's so many people who are looking forward to me coming out so that I could be that asset. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Malloy, looking at your juvenile record as well as the seriousness of the incident offense and law enforcement opposition, I vote to deny.
Johnson.
All right, Ms. Malloy, this is a hard one for me. It was a terrible crime involving your 7-year-old stepdaughter. You have a good disciplinary record. You've taken some good programs. You have a low static 99 score. But I'm still concerned about your transition. You can only be serviced in a halfway house for so long. You can only be serviced by the first 72 for so long. I'm concerned about your health. Whether or not going to decline, and then you won't be able to work with them. So there are a lot of concerns that I have about you, Mr. Malloy. And for me, I'd like to see a better transition plan. Because what you're talking about is short term, and your health situation is going to be long term. And without family, without close friends who know you and are willing to help you care for yourself, I'm just really concerned about how you're going to navigate. So my vote today is going to be to deny, and I recommend maybe try to work on that transition plan. I'm concerned that's a little shaky. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Malloy, I do agree with my colleagues. My concern also is the transition plan. So work on that. Reapply when you're eligible to do so. With the reasons that have already been stated, my vote today is to deny your parole. I think there's a transition specialist there that might can help you out with some of them. All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Clerk Bickham, I think that concludes our business at your facility.
Just wait until I tell you. Just wait until I unpack this and share the information with you about this roach, about this manipulative, disgusting roach. And it's not the first time, it's the second time we've heard a roach say, it's the process of like growth. It's like a cocoon, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And no, sir, a roach does not turn into a butterfly. I said it last time, I said it again. Probably some stupid line he picked up from his programs. Just wait till I get into it. I don't know why Miss Jackson said that it's a difficult case. This is not difficult. He was diagnosed, as Mr. Freeman said, as a psychopath. What was it? A habitual liar and a predator. But of course, he has a low risk score. I mean, come on. Obviously, the low risk score thing. People need to go. People need to. It needs to stop. You know that the 3 years he was in the Army, they were investigating him for an assault of a sexual nature as well. But for some reason, they never, the Army has a pretty bad reputation for seeing those things through. Wherever he has been assaulting children or people. He's one of the probably more dangerous predators we've seen. He looks quite normal. He's in a wheelchair. He didn't know that manipulation would backfire. Can you imagine? To get 35 years for this in Louisiana, it's got to be bad. Okay, let's jump into this. Thank you, Richard, again for making this. On August 20th, year 2000, the sheriff's department decided to question this cockroach about AC's allegations, the 7-year-old stepdaughter. He adamantly denied doing anything with his stepdaughter, but medical professionals, they examined her and found physical evidence that matched the allegations. So she took a videotape testimony. Now, I'm giving you a trauma warning here. I'm going to read this, and oftentimes I skip it, but I'm going to read this because I think it just magnifies the idea of what a 7-year-old child innocence is. Not that we need that to be magnified. I have a 7-year-old child, but it's graphic. So if you want to put it on mute for the next 30 seconds, you can do that. Daddy took my pants and panties off. He laid me on the floor on a pallet. He wouldn't let me up. His clothes were off. He tried to put his private, later she described it as a hot dog, in my front private. It didn't fit, but he made it fit. It hurted. It hurted. He put it in for a couple of minutes. I said, ow, twice. And he eventually quit. He then had her suck her private until white slobbery stuff came out of it. This is what a 7-year-old said to the detectives. So that lying fool, that cockroach who said he never penetrated, you're a liar. Of course, we knew that. I mean, it's in his diagnosis, Mr. Freeman read. Not like we needed to call him out. After his arrest, he denied doing it, of course. He alleged that her kisses lingered too long and she inappropriately touched him. Yes, he said that, a 7-year-old. He also alleged that one night when he was minding his own business, fast asleep, she came in the room and began performing oral on him. Only then he woke up and realized he wasn't dreaming, and he said, oh, it wasn't my wife. Oh my gosh. Scum. Later, he did admit that he tried to have intercourse with her by placing it in her. But then he forced her to do that. He stopped because he cannot bring himself. He tried to penetrate her, but he stopped because he cannot bring himself to do it. You're so righteous. What a good man. So he pled to this with no agreement concerning the sentence. But, no agreement concerning the sentence. The trial court sentenced him to 35 years, which in Louisiana is hallelujah. I mean, that's great. But why not more time? We have seen people do plea deals and judges go to the maximum. And we'll get into why. So the first 20 years without benefit of probation or parole, and he was sentenced on 2021. Now, why we have this is because he filed an appeal saying this sentence was excessive. How could it be? It's unconstitutional. The record does not support a 35-year sentence for something like this. So the appeals judge looks at it, talks about different things of the facts, and then he brings up things that are quite interesting. He brings up things that are quite interesting. And we'll get into that. You are 25 years old and you're a first-time felony offender. The PSI, however, reflects that you have misconduct with small children dating back to when you were 12 years old. At that time, you were found to have a 4-year-old boy. And as that result, you were placed in a facility for juvenile sex offenders. Can you imagine? Until your 18th birthday. So he spent 12 to 18 with a bunch of other baby cockroaches. I cannot imagine a more hellish place. I thought prison, but can you imagine working in a place with 12 to 18-year-old cockroaches? Oh my gosh, all of that hell, locked in hell. I couldn't even. Then he enlisted in the army. And they took him. 1996. He received a medical discharge in 99. Look at that. He's using the medical excuse even then. While in the service, you were under investigation for this, but were never formally charged. And can you imagine if they had just formally charged him? They had done the investigation the right way. I know you can't for sure blame it. I don't really know, and I have all the respect for the Army. I've said it over and over. My brother is a major in the Army. My grandfather, 93 years old, is a proud Korean veteran that he reminds me every day of. And but I just read a lot of reports and hear a lot of reports about how they seem to just completely drop the ball when it comes to prosecuting. And I don't know. You don't know what's true from, but I believe that that's probably the case. It seems to be here. But anyways, I digress. After hearing the testimony, the trial court determined that Mr. Malloy was a predator and a pedo, a cockroach homo, from whom children should be protected. Thank you for putting this in writing. He's a danger to society. Although the court took into consideration that he, as a child, had also been abused, it found that it did not diminish the need to deter him from inflicting further abuse on other children. Finally, the court opined that the element of crime of aggravated were clearly presented, and the court had granted Mr. Malloy great concession by permitting him to plead to a lesser charge. This is what I love about this. We find that indeed the trial court had more than sufficient justification for the sentence that it imposed. Therefore, Mr. Malloy's sentence is not even slightly out of proportion to the seriousness of the offense. We find that this assignment of error lacks merit. I love how they added not even slightly. So here we are. Someone who's literally been abusing and is a pedo and is a monster and is a roach and is the last thing from a butterfly. And he will get out. He had a 35-year sentence. This hearing was just like in 2002. Sorry, in 2022. So he's been in 22 years. And we'll get out in another, they'll probably, he might serve as full time. The idea that maybe he won't make it out of there, actually. I'm sure the kidney thing is real. I'm sure he's, doing whatever manipulation he can do, but the kidney thing's real. Oh, I really like what the warden said when they asked warden, my favorite warden, and he said, well, inside the vacuum of prison here, he's doing good. I really like that he made sure to say inside the vacuum. That was it, he said. I mean, that says it all. The warden wanted to make sure that he said his piece, that this roach would not get out. And I give you so much respect for that, Mr. Warden. But you know who I do not give respect for at all? It is just, should I make excuses for him? Claude Hopkins, we see him quite often. do I make an excuse and say, well, maybe he didn't do his homework? But the idea that you're going to come and support so you can make a couple of bucks for this to get out, shame on you. The first 72 plus. It seems like a great organization on paper, and I'm all for it on paper. You know, they help people get in and out of prison who should be getting out of prison. They have no, you know, they call them clients. It's a non-for-profit. They get donations. They get money. It's a business. But you're going to invite cockroaches like that onto your thing. And I just, that's it. Could never hit that donate button ever. It's disturbing. It's sick. It's just sick. It seems like a beautiful cause and it just ruins it for me. Shame. You know, and it is all about money. Look, you know, I don't need to, they talk about clients served 2,350. How much do you think they get paid for that? 200 plus clients have received housing. $100,000 distributed on low interest loans. I mean, it's all a business. It's all a racket. Which I, again, would be totally supportive of if it was bringing help to inmates that needed it. Someone locked up for life because of a possession charge and they get out with nothing. They need this kind of help. But a roach. Now, hopefully he never gets out. Hopefully he never makes it out of prison. He's sick. He has no support. He has, except for this. But the parole board didn't buy into it. But yeah, monsters exist, and this is why we do this, because we want to show the world that it does. If you didn't see, you might not believe it. But let's jump into another hearing. I haven't watched it. I pulled up the link. Actually, it's not from Richard's spreadsheet, but I pulled up something else that was on this hearing, and I just saw this, and it just caught my attention. I can't tell who the inmate is yet. So we'll just see what this is together. Let's go. That's cute. I don't know his.
All right, good morning. Committee on Parole is reconvening. We are at LaFouche Correctional Center. It's Thursday, June 16th. It's 10:27 a.m. Good morning, ma'am. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Good morning. My name is, what was the other question?
DOC number.
572511.
And let me ask the staff at LaFouche to introduce themselves for the record.
Major Control Davis, Water Complex.
All right, thank you, sir. Thanks for accommodating us this morning. Ms. Crochet, my name is Cheryl Renatza. Mr. Alvin Roche is seated to my left. Mr. Pete Freeman is seated to my right. I'll read some identifying information into the record, ask you to confirm it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman. Your case has been assigned to him this morning. He'll take the lead on the interview.
Yes, ma'am.
We also have some support. I think you can see on the screen, you have your cousin, Sean Blanchard, who will be speaking in support. Christopher Dwyer, your fiance, will also be speaking at the appropriate time. We'll ask him. And then at the very end, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you'd like to do so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kimberly Crochet, your DOC number is 572511. You're classified as a second felony offender. You were sentenced in LaFouche Parish, August 16, 2019, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamines, 2 different docket numbers. So your total DOC sentence is 15 years. Your parole eligibility date is August 3rd, 2022. You have a good time date, which is February 7th, 2023, with a full term date, November 2nd, 2033. Does that information sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Crochet, good morning.
Good morning.
How long have you been in prison?
Since March 16, 2019, 3 years and 3 months.
Okay. And what's your educational level?
I got my GED and I also graduated from Omega Cosmetology School in 2013.
And how old are you?
I'm 38. I think.
You know, all of your charges are drug charges. I mean, the whole rap sheet is full of drug charges. Are you a user or seller or both?
Both, yes, sir, both.
Okay. And what classes have you taken since you've been arrested to try to buck being an addict?
I've taken, I got my certificates right here. I've taken risk 1 and risk 2. I've taken NAAA, money management, partners in parenting, life healing choices. I said risk 1 and risk 2, FDIC money. I've taken anger management twice. That was the DOC classes. I've also taken some impact substance abuse classes. I've taken that, and I've taken an anxiety course, and a domestic abuse impact class. I took like 12 different classes.
Okay. I see you've taken almost all the drug classes we have to offer.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, they stated that on one of your records that there's no more drug classes available to you. So I'm glad that you realize you have a drug problem. You consider drug addict?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Consider yourself a drug addict?
Yes, sir, 100% in recovery, but definitely, yes, sir.
Okay. And what could be your transition plan when you get out?
I'm actually currently working in work release, so I'm going to keep my job. I'm going to involve myself in church, and I'm going to work the program. I have a sponsor. I've got a sponsor since I've been in here. She actually does AA meetings here, so she's working with me, and Corona kind of came and messed that up, but she's been coming back, and she gave me her number. So I can call her as soon as I get out. I can make meetings with her. I want to get sponsored so I can start sponsoring people and just be involved with the community as much as possible and keep myself busy. And I have a great support system out there. I've never had that before. I have a wonderful support system now.
Okay, and where are you going to be living?
With Christopher Dryron, he's my fiance. Actually, on my parole packet, my resident plan, I have a new address because we got our own home now. We were actually going to live with his uncle, but now we have our own home, so I do have a new address.
Okay, well, you give that for your parole officer. Okay, what city is that in? Where you?
Cut Off, Louisiana.
Cut Off, Louisiana, around Thibodeau, huh?
A little further towards Brandau, but kind of.
Okay. All right, you have 3 children?
Yes, sir, I do. I have one that I have shared custody with my ex-husband. The other 2, my little boy, I gave him up for adoption at birth. It was an unwanted pregnancy, and the best thing for him was to let him get adopted. And then my little girl, she actually got taken by the state, and she because I did so much time, she was adopted out too. But I'm in contact with the family, and they said as long as that I'm doing good and they see me doing good, that they will let me be a part of her life.
That's great. You need to try to be a part of her life.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, the one thing that really concerns me, I mean, you completed drug court and you had some charges dismissed. It looks like you're having a tough time kicking your drugs, no matter what you take. What's going to be different this time? I know you say the support system's better. So what can you tell Mr. Freeman to make him believe that you're gonna stay away from drugs?
So I've never actually had a long amount of time to work on myself and just on myself, like focused on just on myself. So I've been here for 3 years and 3 months, and that's all I've done since I've been here. I've taken every opportunity that came my way, every program, every tool, everything that they taught me over here. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna put it to use when I leave here. I've never had the support system, like I said. I have it now. I have people that are just praying for me to do better and that want to be there for me. And I just think I don't think I know it's going to be different this time, just from the programs alone that I've focused on and worked on in here. I've worked really, really, really hard since I've been in here to be a different person from when I came in, a completely different person. And I'm still working on myself, but I just see a big change in me.
Okay. Warden, I see you still in there. Has she had any disciplinary problems, or you have anything to add with regards to Ms. Crochet?
No, I have no negative remarks in reference to Ms. Crochet's stay here. She has been, I don't want to use the term model inmate, but she has taken advantage of all the programs that we have offered. She is one of the first group of individuals to work in our transition work program for females here at the facility. And she's thriving in that arena as well. So yeah, I have no negative remarks in reference to her stay. Definitely seeing some growth.
Okay, Ms. Crochet, I don't know if I asked this or not, but where are you working while you're there?
I'm working at Imperial Trading. It's in Harahan, New Orleans. I'm a receiving clerk. I've been there since October of last year. I absolutely love it. They're gonna let me keep my job when I get out. They're actually looking forward to it. My fiance works offshore, so I can use his truck while I'm working to go back and forth until I can buy a vehicle. But I've actually saved up a lot of money since I've been working, so I'm gonna help get my own vehicle.
Okay. So Renata, I have no further questions.
How far of a drive is that? From cut off?
It's about 45 minutes to an hour. It's a little drive. Yes, ma'am.
How did you get started with the drugs?
I would say I was about 17 or 18, and I just started using, I'm not going to use anybody as a crutch, but it was really all I've been brought up around. Both my parents are, I'm not going to say recovering, they're both drug addicts still, so it was always around me, and then I tried it, and I liked it, and then I just continued to use for about at least 15 years of my life, on and off, mostly on though.
So you have some, at least you know you gotta change your people, places and things.
Yes, ma'am, 100%. I need to surround myself with people that are gonna build me up and encourage me, and just have like a safety net of good people around me. Yes, ma'am.
Mentioned AA meetings and sponsorship and all of that. How many AA meetings do you think would be beneficial a week?
Over here, they do it once
Out.
when I get out. Oh, I mean, as many as I can, as long, like whatever, at least 3 or 4 a week. On the weekends, whenever I'm off, as many as possible. I know you have to make so many meetings in so many days. My sponsor is really tough, so she's gonna work with me on that. But like I said, I have a vehicle and I'm willing and able, and as many as I can make, I'm gonna make.
You do have opposition to your early release. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office is opposed. The District Attorney's Office is opposed because this says these are your 3rd and 4th felony convictions. So there is concern from the community about an early release. We'll hear from your cousin, Sean Blanchard.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So I will add to her support system. I think that it's big for what she has in a support system for when she gets out. And I do feel like we will be a big part of that. Christopher, who you'll hear from in a little bit, has been a big part of my life for the last 4 years. I've watched his sobriety in the last 4 years. He's holding a job. He's bought him a truck. And he's also about to purchase his first home through a bank. He is doing absolutely amazing. He's been involved in our men's group in our church, and I'm really proud of him. But I'm here today to speak on Kim's behalf because I am her first cousin, and I grew up with her, and I grew up in the same homes that she did with the same drug addictions that she did. And I found myself in the same places that she did. I was addicted for 16 years. I'm a 2-time convicted felon, but I am now clean 9 years. I've been married for the last 5. I'm a father of 4 children. I own my own business, and I'm an active member in my community and in my church. So there is hope. And I have that same hope for Kim. And we look forward to her coming out and being a part of what we are now. You know, we've been able to play a big part in the home that she is going to be living in. As far as rental, it's a good friend of mine who we've built the house and got it together for them to rent. But we're also bought a house in the Storm that we are remodeling, and she'll be buying, well, Christopher will be buying that house from us in the next couple of months for them to futurely live in. So we plan to be an active part of their life and part of her support system.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. We appreciate your remarks and congratulations on your success.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Christopher, can we hear from you?
Yes, ma'am. How y'all doing today? Just to touch on what he said, we will be here to support her, in anything and everything she has to do when she gets out. Like she said, I do work offshore. I'm currently offshore right now. But she'll have full access to my truck to be able to go to her meetings, to talk to her sponsor, to go back and forth to work. I'm really proud of her to see how far she's come, to see how much effort she has put into things while she's been locked up. She had started doing college courses for the business management and stuff. And, it just makes me really proud to see how much she's tried to change her life around.
Well, it's good to thank you for joining us from the boat. We appreciate it. And congratulations on your sobriety too.
Thank you very much.
Because your name is in these reports too, that
Yes, ma'am.
I was a little worried about it, but I'm glad you're doing well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Kim, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And I'm not the same person that I came in. I'm a different person, and thanks to every person at this facility. They have really put time and effort into helping me change, and I'm so grateful with whatever decision y'all make today. I'm grateful and I'm at peace, and I just want to say thank you again for this opportunity.
Right, well, thank you. I think we are prepared to vote. We'll start with Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Ms. Crochet, you had a very good interview. I mean, you're definitely a drug addict, and you'll always be a drug addict. We just got to keep you in recovery.
Yes, sir.
You've gone full force at taking every course they had to offer, which you ought to be proud of.
Thank you.
And I'm going to take a chance on you. I'm going to grant you parole with the condition that you attend 3 AA meetings per week and more if possible. Okay, I understand working and all of that makes it tough, but more if possible. And if once you get your life totally together, try to get in touch with those kids. Okay?
Crochet.
Kimberly, I wish you all luck in the world.
Thank you so much.
And I agree with Mr. Freeman. I'm going to grant under the same conditions as Mr. Freeman.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, Kim, I'm really proud of you. You really worked hard. So my vote today also is to grant with the same special conditions. 3 AA meetings a week. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Warden, that concludes our business at LaFouche. We'll adjourn. It's 10:43. Thanks for helping us out today.
Thank you. Oh my God.
What a different kind of hearing, huh? Wow. So different. And of course, you knew it was possession with intent to distribute when she gets 15-year sentence. She should have just been a chomo, been out 10 years ago. She really did. I mean, the difference in you see, she threw herself at every single program. It was kind of one of the better interviews I've seen in a long time. I don't think she could have done it any better than she did. And here's from the sheriff's website that I found while looking at this. Basically, what got her in there is they went on a crazy cop chase. He was 28. She was 33 at the time. Wow. This was in 2016, and just before 6:30 p.m., they sent out a task force to initiate a traffic stop. But the car kept going, and it went and smashed into the mailbox. It crashed, basically, more than a mailbox. Crashing to mailbox. And then after trying to pass another motorist by using the shoulder in the highway following the crash. So they were taken into custody, and they found a lot of stuff in the car. And that's kind of the rest is history, but she's done quite well. I'm happy for it. Of course, it breaks my heart and our hearts hearing about her kids and how she has a son that she probably doesn't even know how to access. Probably can't, right? It's adopted and there's no connection, and all the lives that addiction causes so much damage to. It's just awful, but who knows? Maybe her son will one day see this interview and be proud of her. She is not back, so she's still doing good. We don't see her locked up again. This hearing took place on more than a year ago, so she's still rocking it. Proud of her, and we should be. We'll do another one. This one's intense, so you're gonna have to I haven't watched it, but from the court transcript that Richard provided, it is brutal. So hang in there.
All right, your DOC number 739715, you're classified as a first felony offender. You were sentenced March 27, 2019, molestation of a juvenile, and you received a 4-year sentence. Parole eligibility date was July 25th, 2020. You don't earn good time, and you have a full term date, mandatory release date, March 26, 2023. Mr. Jackson, is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, this appears to be your first offender, so this appears to be your only arrest as an adult. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you, in the record that I reviewed, I see that you had 2 trials. Your first trial was declared a mistrial. Your second trial, you were found guilty by a jury. And you indicate in the record somewhere that you claim innocence. Do you still maintain that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you're at Bayou Dorcheat. Are you enrolled in the sex offender treatment program?
Yes, ma'am. I enrolled in it, but I have completed the program.
You have completed it.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you learn from that program?
I have learned to where my actions that I took was very, very wrong for that took place in the past, to where everything that I went through the program, all 4 phases, learned from being in situations putting myself in situations, being the adult, being over a juvenile, a child, placing my authority over them to where things that situations to where I should have known better not to do, and took advantage of a child that I shouldn't have, a child that I love, cared for, still care for, and
So did you figure out why you did it? The record indicates that you told her it was to help prevent her from being raped.
in the process of that, of saying that, it wasn't far as being raped. It was showing her, well, let me rephrase that. It was showing her as far as people out there in the world will take advantage of you. And me, myself, was the one that really was taking advantage of her. So I really lied to her and really tried to show her things that people would do. And really, I was doing those things. So I learned from my mistakes from that, of doing that. The process of the sex offender program showed me and really got me to be honest with myself and not be in denial of things that I lied about, saying that I wasn't this type of person, wasn't that type of person, and shouldn't have done those things. And I done those things.
All right. Have you taken also in part of your program any victim awareness classes?
Yes, I took. I'm not a victim aware. I took a empathy and awareness class. That's the same thing. I took that.
What do you believe the impact on the victim is as a result of your actions?
The impact is that my actions to where the things that took place, I can never erase from her. I can never take back from her. It was very, very wrong for what I did. I apologized to her for what I did because it was very wrong. I know it has left a scar on her that will never erase from her. I apologize to her, to her family, to everyone that I hurt, to where it's nothing that can take any of that back or whatever. But I do apologize for my actions for that, because it's a memory that I know she will never forget. But I want to reach out to her right this moment and apologize to her deeply from my heart. I apologize, and I apologize to her family for what I've taken her through.
Jackson, were there other children or girls that you were inappropriate with?
There were accusations that I were inappropriate with, but I wasn't inappropriate with any of them.
I was at a slumber party?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions. Any questions by my colleagues? Okay, we'd like to hear from the folks who are here with us. Can we hear from Ms. Sanders? You can just keep your seat if you'd like to stay there.
At the moment, I'm very right now at the moment. But I do want to start off by saying that I strongly object to him being released early. Because this has greatly affected me, my kids, and to just keep moving on. It's in the mind that he's out of sight, out of mind. So upon his release, that it's like all of this gonna come back up because we have a child together. And it's like, how do we go forward as a mother to try to even convey anything to our son that we have together, and he loves his sister. So how do you convey that to a child? And how do you move on? I'm still going through counseling, trying to figure that out. And this has just really impacted us as a family, because going in, it was never an apology. It was always, we were made out to be liars, and we were lying. the girls are lying. And in every situation, he was the one that was manipulated. He was the one that was lying. And it's just something, it's just hard to move on as a mother to keep my composure as well to keep my children's composure. And this is something we will live with for the rest of our life, because it does not erase. It's always there. It's always in the back of the mind. And his son is also, it's hard to try to have him to talk or want to say anything to him as his dad. He loves his dad, but he's not understanding what has happened to the dynamics of this family. Because all these actions took place in our home. And so in our home, it's hard to sleep at night. Sometimes it's hard to trust anybody that comes in our way. And I'm not aware of it.
We understand. We appreciate you being here today. I know it took a lot of courage for both of you to be here and speak out. I mean, it's very meaningful. Ms. Taylor, do you want to say anything?
First, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to be here. Because to hear everything that was said from him, we felt it. All I wanted was an apology. Wanted an apology, you know, the family. I think they were being called a liar. My friends didn't come to my house anymore. I'm just starting to build up relationships back. It's even easier to say, he's just accused and I admit that. It's the simple fact that these girls feel uncomfortable. Not the fact that you feel like you did something wrong or not. These girls felt uncomfortable. So obviously you did something wrong to the extent that they felt uncomfortable. Uncomfortable enough to not want to be there anymore, uncomfortable enough to not want to come to my house anymore. That's the part. You can't apologize for something and then turn around and say, oh, well, I don't think I did anything wrong. I was accused of it. Okay. That's a lie. I don't care. And after hearing that, I feel like I just heard stuff that you wanted me to hear. All of a sudden, I'm here and there's an apology. Why? All of a sudden, we're all here, you three are here, it's an apology. Okay, but what was the apology when we was going through everything? What was the apology when we was being chastised by your family? Where was that? When I said I was uncomfortable the first few times, where was the apology? Where was the stop? When my mom said, don't do this, don't do that, I can do what I want. Where was the stop? Where was the apology then? Where was the sympathy then? And it has just been, I have been hiding my emotions and everything for a very long time. Because I've been depressed, emotionally just on the edge with everything. And I didn't even know I had these feelings until I came here. And it all just too much. And I tried to block everything that was going on.
Well, you're a very strong young woman. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Listen, the situation is very difficult. Whether we grant or deny him today, we can place a no contact order on him. Would you like us to do that?
Yes.
No contact with any member of your family. And then that probation and parole work out visitation with his son. But I would think it would have to be supervised.
Yes.
Because he will be a registered sex offender. And he can't be with a juvenile, male or female, alone. I will request in no contact, don't even come within 1,000 feet of your home, and you have to work out visitation with your son. But I recommend that you require that it be with another adult that you trust. Okay?
He can't be within 3 miles of your home, start off.
For the home that we, usually staying in is 2 miles away from us.
He will not be approved. Probation will not approve that.
All right, Mr. Jackson, is there a
Yes,
statement
ma'am.
you'd like to make before we vote?
Just
I'm
again,
sorry. Did you get join yet? We're trying to get, I know the district attorney's office out of East Baton Rouge was trying to join. She hasn't been able to connect as of yet, so we'll go ahead and take your statement.
okay, well, just again, apologize for my actions and, listening to everything, again, I apologize. I know I can't take anything back, but I know for a fact that deep down in my heart, I'm not a threat to anyone. So I'm asking in front of all you all, if you would, for the decision that you would make, for me to be granted parole today. But I thank you for everything. Like I said, I can't apologize enough for my actions that I took. So I take all things in consideration for everything that I've done and that I've heard today, this morning. So thank you for allowing me to be in front of you this morning.
Yes, sir. All right, we are prepared to vote. The DA was going to join in and express their strong early release. I'll be voting first since your case was assigned to me.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Jackson, my vote today is to deny your parole based on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
opposition that's been expressed in the record and here today, and the fact that you do have the proximity of your full-term date is in March 2023. And Mr. Roche will be adding some special conditions to your, no, I'm denying. My vote is to deny, Mr. Roche.
Mr. Jackson,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to deny your request based on law enforcement opposition to the DA's office, and vehement opposition from the victim and her family. But as a side of my decision of denying it, I'm going to place a no contact order. You should not come within 1,000.
3 miles.
You should not come within 3 miles of the victim's home. There'll be a contact. If you see the victim at any location, whether it be Walmart, Walgreens, or even at a church service, if they're there, you are to leave the premises immediately. You understand?
Yes, sir.
With this contact order, you will have if you violate it, that is a crime and you can be arrested and prosecuted for violation of a protective order. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur with my colleagues. I also vote to deny, really based on the leniency of the sentencing already. I mean, it looked like it was a plea bargain where you had 15 years and they suspended 4. But you better always remember they can bring back that 11. The judge can bring that back. So I'm sure you'll have a period of probation once he is released, even if he reaches his full term date with the DOC. That's my vote today, Mr. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Jackson, your parole's been denied this morning. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
No, and Mr. Freeman's wrong. He couldn't even believe it himself. But it wasn't a plea bargain. This is the madness this is what needs to be called out. This is how can it happen? He had 2 trials. The first trial was a hung jury. How? I don't know. But then they had a second trial and he was found guilty. He was found guilty. And then he appealed. But when he was found guilty after a second trial, the judge said, I'm going to sentence you. I am going to sentence you to 15 years. But all of it will be suspended except for 4. Why? That doesn't make any sense. The trial before this possession with intent to distribute, she got 15 years. We see judges throw the book all the time. They say to someone, oh, you want to take us to court? You're going to waste our money? 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. We've seen 40, 50 years for possession with intent to distribute. Here he is. They have to go through 2 trials. Then he's found guilty. And the judge does 15 years, all suspended, but 4? Why? It's madness. It's crazy. You wouldn't believe it unless you seen it here. This is the truth. Even Mr. Freeman couldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. I would say it's not true. Here it is. The trial ordered a mistrial as the jury was deadlocked. Defendant was then retried and convicted in 2018, and now he appeals. In 1998, KS, the victim, was born. I'm sorry. And yes, was born, and it was 20 years old at the time of the trial. Testified that she met the defendant when she was in elementary school when her mother began dating him. Then they had their son. December 10th, 2008, KS was just 9 years old. She was in elementary or middle school. And that's when the cockroach started playing play fights with her, which included things like play hitting, pinning her down, wrestling, And then he would put his hands under her shirt, cup her breast, remove a knife from his pocket, and say that he was going to cut off her tatas. What the? And then it all continued. It became routine after school, before her mother and brother would come home. So she's alone in the house with him. During one such incident of the play fighting in the parents' bedroom, then it continued down to the hallway to her bedroom. And after the defendant took her into her bedroom, he bent her over the side of the bed, pulled her pants down, and digitally penetrated her. He took his finger and stuck it in me, and I screamed. Then nights while she was in high school, this continued, she would feel pressure on her and wake up and see the defendants. And he would say, "Don't worry, I'm checking on you." She described these incidents as painful and noted that the defendant was trying to insert objects in her. She woke up in the middle of the night and she was by the bedroom and he was urinating in front of her. She was too embarrassed to tell her mother. Then January 18, 2014, it was the weekend after her birthday, or her sweet 16. She was having a party at a hotel and she invited the 7. This is what she spoke about in her speech. She invited the 7 girls to the hotel slumber party. And she testified in the middle of the night, the defendant entered the room and touched them. 3 of the girls testified at trial. 3 of the girls testified at trial that they woke up during the night when the defendant entered the room and touched them on private areas of their body. And he said it never happened. The next morning, the girls informed KS' mother what occurred. An incident that occurred when AF spent the night with KS months before the party. Specifically, AF stated that during the night, she woke up. So this is also that morning, she told her mother what had been going on. So it took him doing that to her friends, and then it all came out. It goes on and on. They're like countless incidents. And it does state, where is it? It states here the same thing that he said. I'm glad they brought it. Was it Miss Renassa that brought it up? He was doing it to teach her, to prepare her in case she would be raped. I don't know where it is, but it's in here. I read it before she stated that. That was exactly what he told her. He was doing it to her so she would be prepared for that. It's just... It goes on and on. Described a family vacation that took place when she was in the 8th or 9th grade, during which the family went to a water park and she was in a bathing suit. She stated after the defendant turned, made her put on shorts over her bathing suit. Later, the defendant told her that she was in her bathing suit. He could see her. Oh, God. I can't. I just, it just, I just, yeah, here it is. She testified after the defendant put a finger in her, he would told her not to worry and stated that he was just preparing her in case someone would ever attempt to her. She said that the defendant further told her that would be far worse as something else other than a finger would be inserted during such an incident. This is all court record. She did not tell her mother because she was embarrassed. She was nervous. She did not know how to explain what was happening. She didn't know what would happen to her mother. It's all normal stuff. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on, it goes on, and it goes on. There are witnesses that saw it, also at a slumber party. I mean, it just... Then he did get kicked out to the mother. So after the sleepover, and this is what she was, after the sleepover, the friends stopped talking to her. They stopped coming over. She felt alone in the world. About a month or so after the party, the defendant was kicked out of the house and then returned for some time before permanently moving out, and then returned for some time before. Before February 2015, specifically the end of 2014, at trial, some of the allegations to her mother, including incidents of inappropriate touching while plate wrestling. She did not reveal everything because she was still nervous and embarrassed. After she went to the doctor verified everything. The medical examination saw he was found guilty. And a judge, assignment of error number conclusion, and he still appealed. And a judge actually said, I am going to give you 15 years, all suspended but 4. You can't make it up. This court hearing happened the court verdict happened in 2019. The appeal was confirmed and denied. In 2018, he was convicted, and it was really just a few years later that he's free. 4 years, but he's able to go to parole 2 years in. You wouldn't believe it if you didn't see it. I know. I just, tell me. I see in the comment section people make different excuses for the law, the system. There must